Rick Ross has said, I don't want to move fast. I want to move precise or something like that. But there's a part where precision slows you down just by you trying to think too much.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's what's happening with us right now. Like, we're thinking too much. And we talked about this in another episode, but there was a point where we were just taking action. And us just taking action got us really far.
Yeah.
But you get to a point where you just start trying to make everything so precise and perfect. It slows you down tremendously.
I agree, because when you perfection can be procrastination.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the More Than a Side Hustle podcast, where we help 9-to-5ers create more impact, income, and influence outside their jobs. My name is Anthony.
And I am the lovely Janoka.
I mean...
You can't call yourself lovely?
I mean, you can. I didn't know we was coming with that type of energy today.
We got to be on the same energy. Just go ahead. Continue your introduction.
We got to be on the same energy.
Continue your
That's the thing about married couples. You have to be
not with
the same,
everything. Go ahead.
You have to be on the same page. So today we realize number one, if you're new here, we thank you for joining us. A little bit of a rant there, but if you're new here, we thank you for joining us. This episode is going to give you guys information and just updates. We realize we haven't done an episode on just business and life updates, and there's always going to be actionable items. So just because you may not care about our business or life, I guarantee you, if you listen, there will be things that you can implement inside your job, inside your life, or just outside your job, or anything you're doing to create more income or just enjoy life.
On top of that, we would like for you to go ahead and leave us a review. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribing, you're sharing, letting people know what we are doing. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, so we just got back from, if you guys didn't know, we have a 1-year-old daughter, and we just got back literally. Let me tell you how dedicated we are to this podcast. Because I don't think people...
We spoke about our dedication last episode.
Yeah, listen, it gets dedicated.
Keeps getting more dedication.
It gets more and more dedicated each and every time we do these episodes. We just got back from swimming class with Alani, our 1-year-old daughter. We had to come in, we had to bathe her, we had to feed her, wash her hair, dry her, put her down, and she is down, and we are recording, so... Yes. You need to leave us a review just for that. But there's a lesson here, as always. We've been doing swimming classes with her for how long now?
She started in January. They do semester, so it will be January to May.
She's been doing swimming from January to... She'll be doing swimming from January to May, so that's 5 months. And we are in... This episode is going to release in April, so she's been doing this for about 4 months. And every single time we show up, she gets better.
Yep. There was only 2 classes we missed, and then we did a makeup, but every time she gets better. She started with like being excited because she enjoys the water. Then as she gets older, she understands that she's going to go under the water. So she starts to cry and get scared about that. But then the past 3-4 classes, she knows she's going to go under, but she's still having fun until she actually goes under. But even then now she's like bouncing back quicker. Like she's not crying as long. She's just kind of getting up and like, and then being able to move past it. So every week she's making little changes, and every week we're like, that's the best class she's had. Every time. And it just kind of reminds me, when you pay attention to something and you practice something, there's no choice but for it to improve, essentially.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going with that, because, and there was a part where you mentioned like she took some time off. When she took time off, her coming back was probably the worst lesson she's had. If you think about it.
Actually, she did good coming back. And I said maybe she needed a break. Because her last class, she had like cried the full 30 minutes. And we're like, what's happening? She had 2 weeks off. And then we came back, and she actually did great. But we went to we went on a different day where it's a bit more quieter and things like that. So I think that helped her to adjust back into the water. But yeah, she's been doing really good. I'm kind of amazed. I mean, she's only 1, so she's not like swimming all over, but she's holding her breath for 4 seconds. She's doing so much, though.
And think about this life gem right here. She's been going to these swimming classes every week for 3 months now, and she's improved every single time she showed up.
Just 3 months.
And one of the lessons, she took time off, and before that lesson, it was really bad. She took time off, and she came back and got better. And it's funny, we're able to... And I was on the drive back, I was saying, just think about this in just from a life perspective. You're on the outside looking at the growth and progress of a human doing something. Like, I'm just thinking about our business coach too. they're able to see you show up each and every week and get better and better each time. Now, it may not be vast improvements. One way I was able to see that she's getting better was how long does it take her to start crying? So if the first lesson is 10 minutes, the next lesson is 12, the next one's 15, next one's 30, whatever it is. Yeah. You're able to see the improvements just week by week. So if you start a business or you do anything and you just keep going, I guarantee you if you have the right coaching and you have someone on the outside looking in, there's improvements that could be made. There's improvements that's happening week after week. A lot of times when you're in it, you just think that is just a crappy situation the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not. Most of our life, we don't measure in that way. But, I mean, for us, it's our first child and she's so young, any little thing that she's doing and that we're doing consistently, we see the changes. I mean, it's just like she's also in gymnastics. She's also in music class. She's already have us running up and down. And in those things, she grows every week as well. She's able to get confident or walk around more or go ahead on things that she used to be scared of, things like that. So it's just, I think we look at it because it's like our child, but we don't measure our lives that way, basically. We don't measure like, well, you're going to the gym consistently and things are starting to change for you. Like those things, because we're just like, oh, it is what it is. But if we stop, like you say, and kind of measure that and recognize, if I continue to do this, I have to get better at it.
Yeah.
There's no choice but for me to get better. Then maybe we can go further.
Yeah, it's like when you are like Steph Curry. People say Steph Curry shoots like 1,000 times or whatever. And he may not be improving. You get to a point where it's just not going to be drastic improvements. When you first start, you're probably going to see a lot further progress. When you get there, you're like, all right, well, I'm making a bunch more or whatever. But you get to a certain point where your progress is not going to be drastic. It's going to be consistent, but it's going to be, you're going to feel like you're kind of just staying stagnant. Like, I can't get any better. This is not going any better. But if you got somebody from the outside of the game, or if you're measuring it like you said, you can see, all right, well, I shot less. I shot more and I made more. I shot less and I made more. So you're able to just measure your progress. Yeah. So I was going to wrap this up and say it's like falling off a bike. You get off, you get back on again, and you keep riding. But our life has been, I don't want to say rocky these last couple weeks.
It's been rocky. It's been rocky for you?
I don't, and on a business life perspective, I don't think it's been rocky, but I think it's just been, I feel like there's a lot happening. And we always feel like it's a lot happening.
I was just going to say that the issue with life has been as an adult. And I think maybe as an adult and running businesses as well, there is always something to do, which I don't like. Like there's literally always something to do. There's not a day or night. Like the other night I said, oh, we have anything to do? And he was like, what you mean we have anything to do? We always got something to do. Don't ask me that. There's something that we can do right now. I'm like, oh, no, forget it. I don't feel like doing it tonight.
Yeah. It's like Pinky and the Brain. They kept asking the same question. What are we doing tonight, Pinky? And every same thing we do every night. Like, Brain, what are we doing tonight? It's like, same thing we do every single night, Pinky. Try to take over the world. That's literally it. That's what we do.
So there's always something to do. So it can always feel chaotic. And then I know we always ask ourselves, before we had a baby, what would we be doing at this time? Before we had a business, what would we be doing at this time? Like just thinking, how are we still able to pile all these things on? Piling meaning like, you know, all these obligations and things we have to do and still exist. Because before I would think we wouldn't be, but somehow we make it work. So I don't know if it's been rocky, but the days always feel busy.
What I'm noticing, I think we spoke about this a few times, but there's a time where you tell someone just to take action, but then you get to a certain point when you just don't want to take just any action. I think Rick Ross has said, I don't want to move fast. I want to move precise or something like that. But there's a part where precision slows you down just by you trying to think too much.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's what's happening with us right now. Like we're thinking too much. And we talked about this in another episode, but there was a point where we were just taking action. And us just taking action got us really far.
Yeah.
But you get to a point where you just start trying to make everything so precise and perfect. It slows you down tremendously.
I also think that I agree because when perfection can be procrastination. But I think that as we continue to grow as a business, as a brand, we put ourselves to a certain standard as well. Like, well, maybe 3 years ago I could just put this out or just do this because nobody knew who I was and nobody really cared or anything. But now we are thinking, not to say we are Jay-Z and Beyonce, but
you love comparing yourself to them.
Whenever I compare myself to them. Anyway, but now it's just, it feels like more eyes are on us. So we're like, we got to make sure it makes sense.
You got to move
put
different.
out. Yeah, you have to move differently. Which I don't think it's a bad thing, but when you let it slow you down, which we have done, that's when it becomes an issue, though. That's when it becomes an issue.
Yeah, sometimes you got to slow down and speed up. And this is one of those seasons where I think we've slowed down a little bit, but it's probably not as busy as we thought it was. And then it's going to pick back up again.
We'll see.
And then we'll come back to this conversation and say, I don't know how
to the video.
I don't know how we were able to do so much.
Right.
But I want you guys to just take that and just think about it. Sometimes you get to a point where like being too perfect can slow you down. And things we're doing now is like, all right, we know we have an action list. Like we got to the whiteboard again.
We did. And you talk about slowing down. It's funny, our coach said, I feel like we've been talking about this for a while, like some of the things we've been talking about. She was like, is it like your vendors? Do we work with different vendors to do different things, or what's happening? I said, yeah, it's been, I feel like at least 4 or 5 sessions we've been talking about the same damn thing.
4 or 5 sessions is at least six weeks.
Yeah, 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah, that's a long time.
So yeah.
But yeah, the whiteboard. Have you been here as a whiteboard gang? Have you been around that long? If you're listening,
Whiteboard Wednesdays.
That was never a thing.
I wanted it to be a thing.
I'm like, what? No, we had the hashtag whiteboard gang. That's why I said it.
Yeah, I wanted to do Whiteboard Wednesdays. We never did it.
Have you been around that long? Let us know in the comments if you've been around since then. But yeah, we've been back to the whiteboard, which our whiteboard helps us to stay on track. We visualize it. We have it written down. We can check it off. And we know what we're working towards versus just saying, hey, did you do that yet? Yeah, this person said we got to do that. So if we have it written, we can just check it off and cross it off and say, we can move forward from here.
I definitely recommend getting a whiteboard, man. That changed our lives and us getting back to it. So get us back in the groove. And speaking of getting in the groove, want to talk about your job?
Okay. Well, we already have our notes written here.
I don't know if you wanted to go there.
Well, we won't get into detail about my job.
Because you don't want to do too much.
Because there's specific things that there's very specific things. So I'll let you lead to see what you're going to touch on.
Why let me lead you if you know there's things you don't want to talk about?
So with my job, my higher up is retiring, basically. And so I'm moving into a new role in that I'm taking on all her responsibilities. But the conversation that I've been having with I guess my new higher up is just kind of what does that look like, and it like the way they're trying to structure of it kind of being a merger versus it being a promotion essentially, which businesses do. They cut expenses. They're like, my manager was with the company for 33 years, so I know she was probably milking them in some way. So it's like businesses, I understand that part, but I'm having constant conversations of, okay, I'm not getting a promotion. I'm just getting all the responsibility she did, plus what I did, plus managing. Like right now I manage 3 people. But with her leaving, I'm now going to have to manage 9 people. So what does that look like? And what does that mean financially? That's the conversations that I'm having. The first conversation kind of was like, well, since we're not changing your title, it kind of feels like we're just going to not increase your pay, which is kind of like, that doesn't even make sense to me, right? So that's a conversation that I'm having at work, a constant conversation that I'm having at work. And it's funny because I bring it, obviously I tell Tony some of the stuff that's happening. He's like, at my job, I'm like, you can never compare your job to my job. Your job had 140 people. Okay, my company has 50,000 people. It's a whole different ballgame. It's not the same. It's not the same conversations. It's not so it's completely different. But let me see. I don't know the last time I've had
how does that make you feel? Knowing that your upper management is leaving, you're taking on all the responsibilities, but you're not giving the title or the promotion.
I don't know if I feel, to me, it's just kind of like it's more of kind of like that doesn't even make sense. Like, how could they expect someone to be okay with that? That's kind of my thought with it. But yeah, I guess that's my thought on it. I don't know if I feel upset. I just kind of feel like why would you think that that's okay, if that makes sense? Because it's like, we know you got the money. And it's not like if you give me more money, you're giving me the exact amount that she was getting. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what that amount is. but you have the money to do whatever the case may be, or let me work towards something. Say, hey, we want to see something for 2 months, 3 months, something like that. That makes sense to me. But that doesn't seem to be the conversation at this time, I should say.
Do you think that's going to be the conversation at some point?
No, I have to bring it. I don't think they're going to say that. I have to say, like, this.
How do you approach that conversation? So for our listeners, how do you approach a conversation with your superior about more responsibilities, but not a
well, this is my first time being in this predicament in my career ever. Anytime that I've had more people, it's been more money, or any more responsibilities. It's just been a different role. But how do I approach it? I've been trying to talk about that now. I mean, I've been trying to talk about that with you. Like, how do I say what I want to say professionally? Besides, like, this don't make sense. Like, how do I say professionally? Yeah, this ain't it. Like, who knows that if this is the case, who says that I want to even do this if this is how it's going to be? You know what I mean? So I don't have the answer for that yet.
Is there a way to decline their offer? Because it's technically not an offer.
It's not an offer. That's the thing.
So
that's the tricky thing about it.
I want to make sure we clarify this for our listeners and our YouTubers. If you're not watching the YouTube, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a position that your manager held that they are now.
She was a director. I'm a manager.
They are now giving you that position, or they're
giving me the
responsibilities of that person that was there. And the disguise is that these roles should have been yours already.
Right.
But the responsibility should have been yours already.
But it wasn't for 5 years.
But it wasn't for 5 years. So now that person's leaving. So we're giving you their responsibilities, but we're not changing the hierarchy. We're not changing the pay structure.
Mm-mm.
We're only changing your output of work.
Right. And it's not getting anyone to replace my role per se, because my role is staying the same and I'm just taking on hers.
So if you think about a triangle, I want to make it very clear, because if you think about a triangle, at the very top of the triangle is now moved. Your position does not go up to the very top of the triangle.
Yeah, I don't move.
But everything that's on top of the triangle comes down to you.
Yeah.
So everything that was under the triangle comes up to you. Everything that was on top of the triangle, meaning everything that she did, comes down to you. But your part of the triangle
that she was managing come up to me now.
And the thing about your part of the triangle is it doesn't move. It stays there, but everything else moves around you.
Absolutely. That's what's happening.
Wow.
It's a wow situation.
How do we approach that, guys? She needs to quit her job?
That's the approach. It's a conversation that I'm like, I just want to be respectful. Obviously, I want to be professional. That's the word I want to say. But how do I say it in that? Because you also know, like I always say, there's always that line of that they have in not job ads. What is it called? I guess a
job description.
Your job description of and anything as needed is
as
always
needed, as we see fit,
will, whatever. All
these ats.
And it's kind of like, is it needed? I don't know. I don't know if I would measure it as needed. So yeah, that's a conversation that I'm going to have, and how that turns out, I don't really know. But I wouldn't be me if I didn't say my piece, even if it doesn't change anything. Then I know, because that's my thing on all these things. Like, you say what you want. Person don't do anything, that's on you to decide what you do with it. That's on you to decide you keep complaining or you do something different about it. That's always my philosophy. So I wouldn't be who I am if I don't say something of how I feel about the situation. So I definitely will. But we'll see what the outcome will be.
I mean, that's one of the things I respect about you, is that you don't hold your tongue when it comes to a situation. So if you feel a way about something, I'm proud that you said something. And if they would have came back and said, oh, well, we can do this, we can do that, or we can't do this and that, at least you said it. Yeah. And they know how you feel. Yeah. A lot of times people quit jobs or they walk around, they're moping. I recommend to you, if you feel a way about your job or your position, and if you're comfortable enough to say something about it, I recommend you let your manager know. So at least the conversation was had. It is in writing. It was had. It's documented. So if you decide to leave, oh, well, I told you, you guys decided not to fix it. Yeah. Or I told you and you guys did decide to fix it.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I could do. I can't force them to,
because they're gonna give you the work anyway.
But yeah, that's what they're gonna end up saying.
Your role.
And just say like this. It is what it is. So that's one life update that's kind of happening now. Work, which is always an ongoing conversation of me being at my job, but we're still there, and Trucking through.
So that brings us to our next point. We just closed on another property
in St. Louis. Yeah,
St. Louis.
Yeah, so this would be property number 3.
Wow.
2 in St. Yeah, what?
Wow, we starting to pick up
3 investment properties, I should say.
and then one
2 in St. Louis, 1 in
living.
Dallas. We haven't spoken about our house since we did that one episode at the very, very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, we have 3 investment properties now.
Shout outs to us, man.
Yeah, I mean,
But we want to give y'all the game on that too. So it's not just us. You feel like we're bragging. We want to make sure there's actionable steps.
yeah, so that one where we literally just closed, I think, a week ago, and we're probably going to have somebody in within the next week too. So we're kind of moving with that. If you didn't know, with our properties, we use property managers. Yes, those of you that may have 10, 15 homes or just one home, you may say you can manage it on your own. We can. We don't want to. We speak a lot about us setting up our life the way that we want to live it and what makes sense for us, and us just having to respond to people for different issues and stuff like that we don't want to do. So we have a property manager that manages our homes and stuff like that. So St. Louis property managers, things have been pretty good. We've been happy with our property managers there. Now Dallas, child. Dallas, we've been through like 3 or 4 different property managers, and when you speak to people about just that business, a lot of people say like, yeah, that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Everyone does.
everyone says like, yeah, that's just how it is. And it's like, it keeps being how it is because we keep accepting it. That's the issue. But how long have they been out of that property in Dallas? How long has it been vacant?
It's been vacant for about 3-4 months.
Yeah.
So that's lesson number 1. Have an emergency fund, because the mortgage still has to get paid. Right. Unless you bought the property cash, it still has to get paid every single month. You turn the utilities off, there's still gonna be things that come up. You gotta mow the lawn, or you're gonna get a fine, you're gonna get a ticket for that. So you gotta have an emergency fund. Now, the amount of emergency fund, 3-4 months of a vacant property is not ideal.
But also the property is not too expensive. It's not like it's a $400,000 property, so that makes a difference too.
It does make a difference, but having that emergency fund. So when we bought any house we buy, we got to know that there's going to be times where it's going to be vacancy. So
And we got to be able to afford it.
And we got to be able to afford that vacancy. Now, having a house that's $500,000 and being able to afford the vacancy of $3,000-$4,000 a month mortgage is completely different. It would hurt.
We don't got no property like that. That would be like, you need to find somebody ASAP.
Yeah. So we've had the convenience or luck to being able to be a little bit more understanding, because we had to do a turnover after a tenant. That's another thing too. After tenants leave, there's going to be a turnover period. So some of the things we learned from our first property was we needed to have a property manager, because I wasn't driving out an hour out in Dallas to go see the property. I wasn't driving out.
We were doing it for
a little bit. And then they turned it over and it was a complete wreck. And I wasn't able to go out. I mean, I was able to go out there, but it wasn't things I was thinking about. So we hired our property manager. He was like, all right, we got to have somebody to go out there and check on this property throughout the time, because here was our experience previously. So those are things we did, or things that we learned from our first experience with that tenant. And we're continuing to learn things too. You can't rely on them 110%. So like while this property was vacant, one thing we did was
stay on their ass.
We was on their ass about everything. Like, why is it vacant? How many applicants we got? Because they getting 1 or 2. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna sign up for these hiring. I'm gonna sign up for these platforms myself. I'm gonna sign up for these Zillows or Realtor.com or Section 8 websites. I'm gonna start bringing candidates in, because in my mind, it's just like a business funnel. There is a funnel. The more eyes you get on that property, the more people you get to apply, the more likelihood you get somebody to be accepted. So staying on them about that stuff and not allowing them to 100% control the asset itself.
Yeah.
Those are some things that I'd say we've learned over these last couple months. And you've been very well with your customer service, because, wow.
Baby. Yeah. I just realized, I think in life, when it's like, I need something from the person, and even though they are wrong, I don't know that now is the time to tell them, because it's not going to go anywhere.
That's a gem.
That's what I think about in conversations. Like, and sometimes, I mean, when I used to get on the phone with clients with our cleaning business, I used to tell people, like, when they started going, I'm like, well, I was being respectful. Can we maintain that same thing? There's no reason for anyone to be yelling. Like, and I always say it just like that too. And most of the times people come down. Like you recognize like, all right, well, you're right. Maybe that she wasn't yelling. She wasn't being rude. Maybe I don't need to be like, I'm like, we can all be upset, but you don't have to be nasty, right? So I just think about that when I'm going in certain conversations of like, I need your help. I need you to do your job. So I'm not even going to get into it with you about this right now. That's how I see it.
How do you do so well with that? Because it goes, for me, it's like it goes from 0 to 100. And I'll pull back 110%, and I'm like, whatever.
I'm done. You're like, I'm done. I have a lot of. My mother used to say, "Don't care, people go to jail." But she always
what does that mean?
Because I always be like, "I don't care." She says it to this day. I always say, "I don't care. I don't care." And she's like,
"That's true.
Don't care, people go to jail."
Think about all the kids who went to jail. I don't care. What's the name of that show?
Very true.
What's the name of that show?
The Wire.
I completely cut you off. Continue. I'm sorry.
No. The Wire.
No, the show where the kids go to jail, like little young kids, and they.
Oh, Murray? What not? Jerry Springer.
Those type of shows,
like the boot camp.
Like yeah.
Oh yeah, they
I
used
don't
to be
care.
yelling in their face. They yelling in their face.
Listen. I'm about to show my age here. If you guys ever watch South Park, if you guys ever watch South Park,
South Park don't come on no more.
It does come on.
Oh,
but
so how you
I'm the watch. I mean, South Park's been on for 20, 30 years.
Oh, I don't think
if you guys ever watch South Park, there was this episode with Cartman. They were mocking those shows.
Okay.
And it was a Maury episode, and it was like, you don't act right, you going to jail. He's like, I don't care, I do what I want. I do what I want. Yo, literally, Google this. Oh my God, I need to Google this right now.
No, you don't need to Google it right now.
No, it is hilarious. Let me see.
And then you're gonna zoom in for the camera.
Let me see. I don't care. I do. Look, Cartman. I don't care. I do what I want. Listen.
Babe.
Let me see if it comes up, y'all. Listen. Maury.
How long is this clip, Tony?
Next mother is Leanne Cartman. Her son claims to be the most out of control kid in the world.
No one can see it.
Nothing his stupid mom can do about it. Why won't you kids
Let me see.
do my perfect
I'm gonna zoom in
the camera.
Yeah, Stacks, and I don't use protection.
Whoa! I do what I want. But you get the point.
You're dying.
He kept saying, I don't care, I do what I want. I don't care about jail, I do what I want.
Well, anyway, so yes, my mother used to say, don't care, people go to jail, because that is my philosophy on a lot of things in life. I honestly don't care. I honestly don't give the energy, because it's not, that's how I feel.
You could go to jail like that.
Anyway, so that's kind of how I probably processed a lot of things. Like what they're probably, my thing is we have an outcome. We need an outcome on something. Me saying, well, you're supposed to call me at 2:00 ain't getting me to the outcome, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how
it's not the time to be coaching them in business.
For it. Yeah, it's really not. Unless there's something like I need to have a relationship with you, or I feel it's necessary, like a continued conversation, then I'm not going to put my energy into the nonsense. That's how I see it. Good or bad, but.
Yeah. So one of the things where we were just talking about just our goals of real estate, it was like, all right, one thing we want to do is if we could have enough cash flow, meaning we have enough where all of our expenses are covered for the actual property, and where the money we're making covers our mortgage. Because we was like, all right, we could buy all the properties in the world, but like, what's the goal? Yeah. So just like when we were trying to pay off our debt, we kind of took it like, all right, if we make enough money just to pay off, extra $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, or just pay some extra money like on our bills, like having that goal makes things more attainable. Yeah. So he's like, if we have enough cash flowing,
investment properties,
enough cash flow from our investment properties to cover our mortgage, then that kind of gives us a goal to shoot for.
Mm-hmm. Because then the conversation continues to be, how much do we want? How much do we, but once we, I guess, reverse engineer, then we'll know. And the goal always changes. So we shall see.
All right. We want to go next.
See, cleaning business update.
And you guys didn't know, we own a 7-figure cleaning business, and our goal is to help you learn how to launch and scale your own 6 or 7-figure cleaning business without cleaning any houses. Could you imagine having a business and the business runs for you? Meaning you're not out in the streets, you're able to travel, you're able to live your life, and the business still runs without you actually doing the manual labor. That's what we teach. We teach you that at Cleaning Business University. If you're interested in that, check out the link below. It's in the show notes, or shoot us a message, cleaningbusinessuniversity.com.
Boom.
But this is actually our cleaning business.
And that is our commercial episode. So yes, this is our cleaning business that we've had for 6 years?
6 years.
Okay. November is going to be 6 years. So it's been about 5.5 years that we had this cleaning business. We put an operation manager in place once we had our daughter. So February 2022 is when we put her in place. And every month we're like striving, to hit a certain goal. But we've been very intentional about our marketing. And we speak about that a lot for us specifically. And most of our, students. You have to put some money into the marketing. You have to put money into marketing to kind of see the result and continue to see it grow. And we do online marketing because we don't do door-to-door. We don't do any of that. So we do a lot of online marketing or not face-to-face marketing. So we've been focusing a lot on that with her sending out email or text campaigns, or we even at one point did like a cold audience with mailing it to their home for about 1,000 people. We didn't get a return on that one, but we did mail some stuff to some of our reoccurring people to get them back, or if they used to be reoccurring, we did see some return on that. So we're just trying different things when it comes to marketing. Even being 5.5 years into the business, we always have to continue to market our business.
Yeah, one of the things that a lot of people we focus on the digital marketing because we're not going out there doing the door-to-door. We're not doing that type of stuff. So he's like, all right, what are things we can do to continue to dial in? And we already have a gang of clients that we previously serviced over the last 5 years. And that was one of the things we were missing. I want to say we missed out on a lot of money. This is one thing you could do in your business to make more money this year, just by marketing or remarketing efforts to your previous clients or people who are just leads in your funnel or just leads in your business. That can make you extra. Like this month, we made like $6,000 just from remarketing to old leads. So make sure you're using these. Don't just you think about a person as a one-time customer. You find out ways to continue to sell to them over and over again.
Yep.
So that's something we've been focusing on, and just bringing more partnerships into the business. So SEO, search engine optimization. We're working with our previous company on person who manages and runs our website. So we're working with him and figuring out a different way to run our search engine optimization. How can we optimize not only our website, but also our Google ads and the other ads and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And then we have an operation manager, and then we have a VA, but we're thinking of bringing someone in that is specializes specifically in sales. That is important for us. Not to say that our VA has a pretty good closing rate, but we want it to be higher. But we know that her specialty is in sales. So we're considering maybe we have 2 people on to do different things and focus on different things. So that's where we are when it comes to the cleaning business specifically.
And one thing people don't understand about just the whole VA process as well. We'll talk about this because we do have a VA business. I was talking to one of my people about this recently. Like, people think that you could just come in and hire someone to run your business for you, not realizing that when you hire anyone in any business, there's going to be a loss when you start. There's going to be a loss. They're not gonna close on the leads. They're not gonna understand how this works, how that works. It's gonna take you more time in the beginning. You spend more time up front so you can have more time later on. You spend a shorter amount of time up front to have a longer amount of time back later on. So you're playing the long game, not the short game. So that's something to think about when you're hiring, not just a virtual assistant, just anyone in your business. When we hired our operations manager, we had to put a lot of time in up front, like 40 plus. We were doing calls every single day for an hour, questions every single day for an hour. Like, we were putting time in so that we know that, all right, over the next couple of weeks, it's going to take this time to train her, but we're going to get our time back immensely once she's trained. So think about that in your business and your structure or whatever you're doing outside your job.
Right. So moving along, our other business. So we spoke about our not residential. What is it called? Real estate. We spoke about our actual cleaning business, and so now we wanted to get into Cleaning Business University.
The educational portion.
The educational side of it, which, if you didn't hear already, Anthony said the commercial break of that. Some things that we've been doing. So we have a community, we have a course, and then we have a community, and we brought in a community manager, I think 3 months ago, actually, just to help us to make sure that we're serving our students and the people that are in there. Now, we ran this community on our own for 2.5 years, so we could do it, but we know that we're being pulled in multiple places, and we want to make sure that we're still showing up and people are still getting value from what we're doing, and the information that we're providing in the course and within the community. So we've had a community manager, and it helps our students, it helps us, and I think it's been we're putting a lot of different strategies in place with this community manager. So I think it's been very helpful for us and our students as well. They really respond well to her.
What do you think has been the biggest takeaway of hiring a community manager?
The biggest takeaway, I guess, for me, knowing that all questions are being answered. All questions were always answered from us as well, but it probably just took a little longer, right? And so with this, the response is within hours, right? That's one thing.
I'll say for me, I think the biggest takeaway of having a community manager is getting someone from the outside that has ideas. And it's not, all the ideas aren't just coming from us. Right. An outside meeting doesn't mean like a random person. It just means someone that is not one of us, essentially. So having someone from the outside of the Hardzog household coming in and seeing what we're doing and bringing those suggestions. A lot of times we think we could do everything, which in reality you probably can, but how are you going to grow and improve? It's just like us watching Alani swimming. She may think every week I suck down the line, but if you have somebody outside watching you, seeing how things are going, like, oh, things are getting better. It may seem like it's stagnant right now, but if you look at the long-term trajectory of it, things have been improving. Yeah. So that would be the biggest thing for me, just having those outside ideas and thoughts coming in.
And then we've also gotten back to ads, because we were in limbo with ads for maybe like 2 months. We had stopped running ads. If you follow us or are listening to us, I'm sure you've seen one of our ads before. So we have that again, which also gets exciting because it's a new audience coming in. There's new people coming in where we can answer questions and provide value, and people are like interested, never heard of anything like this and stuff like that. So the ads exposes us. I mean, you always have those trolls as well.
I was going to say.
Yeah, you have trolls as well, but that's life. Okay. Like I said, that's life.
You guys got to be mindful of that. If you ever get to the point where you start advertising, that's another thing too. Like when you start advertising your services, a lot of us, when we first start, we advertise our services to people around us, people we know, friends and family. And we realize when you start to get to outside that box, outside of friends and family, and even at immediate, all right, I know you because you know somebody else, like outside of that type of stuff, where people just find you online, you could expect a lot of people to just, call you out your name or say negative things about you. So it also brings that type of energy, but I'm all for it. I'd rather bring those new people in, and it gives us the ability to get our business seen by more people, which means that we could create a larger impact for those around us.
Yep. And then also we finally have like a high ticket offer, which people have asked us for a bit. And it's
what does high ticket mean? Like, what's that?
Oh, sorry. A high ticket offer. I guess it depends. It's an offer that, us? Oh, well, it's a different product versus just our course. We've done something similar to this around Black Friday, I think 2 years in a row, where we worked with students to get their business up and running. And essentially we will be doing that. It's a hybrid model that we will be working with students to get their business up and running. I mean, we haven't done it on this scale, but that will be launching this month. So all the people that's like, I got the course, and I need help, but this will be for you. You'll have an opportunity to work with us hand in hand to make sure you get your business up and running. So that's something that we have coming down the line. And we've always had conversations of how do we meet our clients where they are, our students where they are, because there's some people that can go at their own pace, and there's some people that would need a bit more hand holding and kind of wanting you to work with them. Then there's people that scale really big, and then so there's people at different levels, and we understand that we haven't been serving everyone because we just weren't there yet, but now we're at a point that we're ready to do so. So if you are interested, make sure you're on the lookout for that.
Yeah, that's a big one for us too, because like you said, there are people who want that more accountability, want that higher. And then also this is a big one for us. We say that people say that you can't charge what you haven't paid. So if you haven't paid for a service that's, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, you shouldn't be charging that. So we pay for that type of service. Our highest ticket price that we paid.
We paid a lot of money.
Yeah, we paid a lot of money for coaches, for masterminds. So us getting out our own heads and feeling like we can't charge or we can't help people at that level, we're finally getting out our own way. Very important. So very important getting out your own way. And last but not least, our virtual assistant business, Ziggy
If you
VA.
didn't know, we got a virtual assistant business.
We had this for a while now.
2 years now.
2 years.
And they do virtual assistants for cleaning businesses only.
Yeah, I think one of the things we want to make sure we get away from, we talk about having a faceless business, and this is one of those businesses that our students know we have. It's like, unlike our cleaning business, I want to make sure there's an understanding. So our cleaning business, people who find our services, they're not looking for us on Instagram. They're not looking for us on YouTube. They find our services as a blank business outside of us, the Hard Talks. But the virtual assistant business, people who use the services, they know us from our cleaning business, meaning they know us from the course, they see our face. So there's an attachment to that business, to our personal brand, which I really don't like that, because if something goes wrong in that business, I'd rather have it like lie with that business versus having it lie with our personal brand.
Of course.
So I want to get that business where we're finding clients online, I'm finding clients on Google, or clients are finding us outside of our personal brand,
Right.
to kind of create that separation of duties and responsibilities, because I can't act as the CEO of my actual cleaning business and act as a CEO of that business. We have people in place for that business. So we need to make sure there's a separation of duties and responsibilities.
Yeah.
I think the line becomes blurred because people know us as the owners of that business. So they come and say, hey, there's this issue. I'm like, there are people.
You ain't going to Jeff Bezos for that.
I'm like, there are
now, I'm not
people
Jeff, but at the same time, because we're accessible. That's the thing. But yeah, so we have that virtual assistant business and just making sure there's a difference. And then for us, we're also focusing on, like you said, how do we grow the business outside of just our students? Nothing against our students, but in order to continue to grow and scale, we need to be in front of more people. We need to market more. So what does that look like for that business? We haven't really marketed that business at all. It's just been word of mouth, or if you've taken the course and you've heard of it. But it's not like we're marketing it via ads or anything else that we do with our cleaning business or any other businesses that we have. So that's something that we're trying to figure out what we're doing with that business when it comes to marketing specifically.
Yeah. I think there were a lot of different takeaways in this episode. I know we talked about ourselves and what we're doing, but I think there were a ton of takeaways that you guys could implement and you guys could have actionable advice on. And if there's anything that you feel like you wanted to talk about more, let us know too. We are open to the conversation and we are open to helping you guys more at a different level, at a higher level. Make sure you are leaving comments. Make sure you are letting us know you're listening and you're watching. You're tagging us, because we want to make sure we're continuing to provide value to you guys.
To someone, if you're out there listening, please let us know.
And we are hitting new strides every single month. We're getting more downloads. We're getting more reviews. We're getting more people sharing the podcast. So we appreciate you guys. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review. You felt like this is a 5-star podcast, a 5-star episode.
And you can write a review. That goes a long way too.
Yes. So we will see you next week.
Yes, we will. Have a good one.
All right, guys. Peace.